self-talk piece. And that's the piece I want to just go over quickly. And I gave you a specific affirmation to use. And the reason I love this affirmation that we did is because it's very difficult for your brain and my brain to argue with it. If you've ever been introduced to affirmations and mirror work and self-love phrases, self-care phrases, you can feel it sometimes, maybe not all the time. Maybe there's that, maybe your, coach ally inside goes, you rock. And I want that. That's kind of what we're trying to learn to recalibrate. Until it's recalibrated, there's a lot of the little critic in there that kind of goes, I don't think so. And if I would try to say things like, I love you, you're a really good being, you deserve the best in life, there's a lot of times that thing kind of goes, I don't know if that's really true. So I came up with a couple of phrases that it's very difficult for your brain to argue with. And these are the two phrases, and it goes like this, easy peasy. I'm glad you're alive. So just put a hand on your face. Because even if I'm annoyed with me, even if I've made some dorky choices, maybe not even dorky choices, maybe I've made some choices that I have a lot of regret about, or sadness or guilt or shame or any of that. For most of us, the alternative to being alive is that I'm not alive. And I gave this quick little caveat to you last week, and I want to say it again. If there's ever a moment of time that you don't feel like it's true to say, oh, I'm glad you're alive. Like if I'd rather be dead, if I'd rather not be here, then I'm really asking you to reach out. Suicide hotlines, you could just call 911 and say, I just need, a suicide hotline number. But for most of us, even if we're annoyed with us, even if we've had really hard days, everybody, like, put your hand just right on your cheek, or you could do it on your heart if you want. Or if there's people around and it's weird, you can just kind of grab your hand. And I want you to say to yourself, I'm glad you're alive. And that's one that we can even look in our eyeballs, because it's not saying, I think I'm all that. I want us to practice that one too, because awesome good happens when we spread out our good. But just for right now, just this, like, I'm glad you're alive. And now here's the second part. It just goes like this. I hope something good happens to you today. I hope something good happens to you today. Because again, my inner critic thing, that it's been a pattern for so long, for so many of us, that we're supposed to be perfect, but there's no being perfect, because everything always moves and change, and we can't stand on our heads in enough ways to make every human being and every group of people approve of us. I can do it for one person, but then the other people don't. But the cool thing is, if you just hear yourself say, I hope something good happens to you today, there's just this gentle kindness to that. So go ahead and take your hand, or take your face, take your heart. And right now, I want you to pretend, because you're kind of all looking at some sort of screen, pretend that you could see your own face. And maybe you can, and maybe you can't right now. And I want you to just practice quietly and say, I'm glad you're alive. I hope something good happens for you today.